make that policy change as a country, then we should go through that process and have a debate in this country and not simply have a purported king signing executive orders.
Tonight, the West is at the forefront of an effort to push back against President Trump's early actions. The administration suffering an early setback in what's expected to be a long legal battle. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. Today, a federal judge in Seattle blocked President Trump's order aimed at ending birthright citizenship. As Fox 13's Alejandra Guzman reports tonight, Washington's Attorney General says the judge's order sends a clear message that the president has to follow the Constitution.
The U.S. Constitution was defended, where the rule of law was defended, and we reaffirmed what it means to be an American in this country.
Thursday's hearing, highly anticipated. Judge John Kunauer has put Trump's executive order to end birthright citizenship on hold.
That's a good one. Birthright. That's a big one.
Judge Kunauer, a Ronald Reagan appointee, called it blatantly unconstitutional 2 weeks ago when he issued a 14-day temporary restraining order. Washington and 3 other states, including the Northwest Immigrant Rights Project, argued the order violates constitutional law. Not to mention, it would render children born to immigrants without legal status stateless, citizens of nowhere.
We do not have a king. We have a president who must abide by the laws. And if they want to amend the Constitution, there is a process by which to do that.
The Department of Justice Deputy Assistant Attorney General Drew Ensign defending the executive order, arguing the phrase subject to the jurisdiction thereof in the 14th Amendment does not automatically grant citizenship to children of undocumented immigrants. He pointed to Elk v. Wilkins, where the Supreme Court ruled Native American tribes weren't under U.S. jurisdiction for citizenship until 1924, when Congress passed a separate law. Ensign argued the same should apply to immigrant children because their parents have allegiance to other foreign countries.
We currently have a president of the United States who lies to the American people with imperpetuity and has a complete disdain for the United States Constitution.
Matt Adams, legal director for the Northwest Immigrant Rights Project, who represents 2 pregnant Seattle women, insists the Trump administration has no authority to add requirements to birthright citizenship.
The language of the Constitution is clear. There's no room to change the interpretation.
He did, however, question why immigrants and their children are subject to criminal and tax laws and why undocumented men between 18 to 26 years old are obligated to register for the military service, meaning they could be drafted to fight for the U.S. in war if they're not subject to the jurisdiction.
The policy arguments are based upon this political rhetoric, basically trying to demonize the immigrant communities, to divide up our communities.
In a forceful ruling, Judge Kunauer reaffirmed the more than 150-year rule of the 14th Amendment, saying, quote, "To our president, the rule of law is but an impediment to his policy goals, something to navigate around or simply ignore. Under my watch, the rule of law is a bright beacon in which I intend to follow." The Justice Department is expected to appeal the injunctions. This case is likely headed to the 9th Circuit Court of Appeals. Over on the East Coast, though, Massachusetts case, along with 18 other states, that case is headed to court tomorrow. The ACLU's case will be heard on Monday. In Seattle, Alejandra Guzman, Fox 13 News.
The Trump administration has filed a lawsuit against Chicago and the state of Illinois over sanctuary laws. Those suits claim the laws are thwarting federal immigration enforcement efforts. However, those sanctuary laws do not allow local law enforcement to actively interfere with federal operations. California's Attorney General says that he is monitoring today's legal action since it could have implications for that sanctuary state. Tonight, we're getting our first look at the first group of deported migrants to arrive in Guantanamo Bay. The Defense Department posted these images online showing the migrants arriving at the Navy base in Cuba. President Trump says Guantanamo Bay has the ability to hold as many as 30,000 people, and that holding facility will be expanded over the next few weeks. A dozen states, including Arizona, California, Colorado, and Nevada, say they will file suit to prevent the Department of Government Efficiency, led by Elon Musk, from accessing Treasury Department data. Also, attorneys for the Justice Department have agreed to temporarily restrict DOJ, as it's known, from accessing that data. This agreement comes after unions representing federal workers filed a lawsuit against the Treasury Department. The suit claims it's unlawful to give DOJ access to the government's highly sensitive payment and collection system and its personal data. A federal judge approved the agreement, which remains in place until she issues a permanent ruling coming up during a hearing that's set for February 24th. We turn now to the weather and the storms that are hitting the West still tonight. Newly released video shows first responders in the San Francisco Bay Area saving a woman who was trapped inside a flooded car. This unfolded on Tuesday in Marin County, north of San Francisco. Also in nearby Santa Rosa, authorities are now saying that 2 people died in a landslide triggered by the heavy rain. As KTVU's Tom Vakar reports tonight, there is more rainfall tonight that is causing a lot of concern.
Late Wednesday afternoon, the Sonoma County Sheriff sent deputies to the Frowns Valley Road area northwest of Calistoga, where they found a deceased person in a culvert on private property. Then, early Thursday morning, another body was found southwest of that location.
It was here in West Santa Rosa where a man on a bicycle apparently tried to cross this expanse of water and paid for it with his life.
Our rescue swimmers went into the water, did a grid pattern search, and located a male victim. This area where the accident happened is in the Laguna de Santa Rosa, so it's a notorious low-level spot for us that floods very regularly, even in some of our more minor storms.
With floodwaters receding at a key measuring point in Guerneville and lighter rains expected, attention turns to landslides after a home fell into the Russian River in Forestville and another was destroyed in Santa Rosa's Fountain Grove by landslide.
We're starting to see some of that earth not be able to absorb the water, and it's starting to move.
Super-soaked soils cause power outages in 2 ways.
With some of the winds that we've had over these last couple storms, the risk of trees coming down becomes greater and greater as that ground gets more saturated. Current saturated soils, with a little bit of rain, all it takes is a little bit more for some of those areas to possibly slide.
When we have a storm like this very strong atmospheric river with multiple days of rain coming down, the ground gets incredibly saturated. And that's a problem for trees coming down, but it does also impact PG&E's equipment, specifically our poles. Just like trees uprooting, we can see our poles coming down because the ground is just so saturated.
16 neighbors of this landslide-destroyed home in Santa Rosa remain under evacuation warnings, and more rain is on the way. Tom Vakar, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Well, new storms are leaving behind a lot of snow in the Pacific Northwest. This was the scene in Seattle today. You see the snow-covered streets in this shot. Heavy, wet snow that fell north of Seattle took down a tree today, and that prompted authorities to shut down one roadway to clear that debris out of the way. There were no reports of any injuries in this case, but transportation managers say the threat from new storms is not over.
Earlier, there's a lot of snow in a lot of different regions, especially North King County and Snohomish. I think a lot of the snow on the roads, at least, has kind of diminished a little bit, but there's going to be colder temperatures, and so that's going to cause all that moisture that was on the road to refreeze overnight.
State transportation managers say they're getting some reports of drivers colliding with plow trucks, and they are urging drivers to be extra cautious as they head out and about. People who live near the burn areas in Southern California are hoping sandbags will protect their homes from any future landslides. Many say they're exhausted from the repeated severe weather threats that they've continued to face.
Really stressful. It's hard sometimes to, thank God my house is okay. But, you always question, should I stay around here? Should I do other things in the house to try to prepare in case this happens again? But, we keep on keeping on.
Emergency managers say rain will pose real threats for new landslides in those burned out areas for several days to come. We are already seeing some wet weather in some parts of Southern California tonight. Here's a live look at the conditions in Los Angeles, where we are seeing showers, and we saw those moving in late this afternoon. And obviously you can tell from this shot, you see some of those raindrops on the camera lens here, and traffic moving along those rain-slicked roads. For more, let's bring in KTVU meteorologist Roberta Gonzalez, who is tracking this latest round of storms to hit the west. Hey, Roberta.
Hey, Alex. Definitely the West Coast happens to be the wet coast this evening as this strong warm front continues to lift off the Pacific Ocean and bang up against the coastline of California. Southern California, it is raining now. We just verified that with our live weather camera. Anywhere around the Santa Barbara area, we picked up over an inch of precipitation around that San Marcos Pass there. And then the rain begins to taper off ever so gently around the Los Angeles basin, except right here in Oxnard and in Ventura, approaching nearly a half an inch of precipitation. Light rain to pockets of more moderate rain now falling around the Inglewood area as well as in Gardenia. Now, we have picked up a half an inch of precipitation in Ventura today. Santa Monica, after nearly 4/10 of an inch of rain yesterday, approaching 2/10. Los Angeles over a 1/10, and same in Pasadena, but hey, we got more rain coming. Today's high temperature in Los Angeles, 63 degrees, which is close to spot on for this winter day. Meanwhile, in San Francisco, keep in mind on Tuesday, 2 to 4 inches of precipitation, record amount fell in the city. Today, 4/10 of an inch of rain at 59 degrees. And let's head on over to Seattle, where the skies did clear after that wet cement snowfall. The high temperature, 39 degrees. It is 39 degrees at this hour in Portland. How about 65 in Las Vegas? Meanwhile, as you see 60 in Los Angeles and low 60s in San Francisco, keep in mind there's a lot of warm air still associated with a strong warm front as it lifts from the south to the north, but a pool of cooler air is going to continue to filter down from the Pacific Northwest. We still anticipate another 1/10 of an inch of precipitation in San Francisco before this system rides out of the area tomorrow afternoon and approaching a 1/4 of an inch of rain around the Los Angeles area, backing into Santa Monica and Pacific Palisades. Now, meanwhile, let's go ahead and give you the forecast as we slide and look forward to the weekend in San Francisco after this system does pass. Nothing but sunny skies, but cooler air mass, chilly temperatures. Los Angeles, you will be in the clear as well. Check out Phoenix, still flirting with 80 degrees by Saturday. And to the north, Seattle will be precipitation free with temperatures in the 40s and high 30s. Denver, you will begin to cloud up, but no precipitation in the Mile High city. Make it a great night. Alex?
All right, you have a good one too. Roberta, thank you. Coming up tonight here on the West Coast Wrap, hip-hop star Kendrick Lamar says he wants to bring some LA energy to the Super Bowl. Tonight, what he's revealing about his plans for headlining the event's halftime show. And how the country's egg shortage is turning into big business for some small chicken farms here in the West.
We do have a wait list, along with everybody else right now that has backyard chicken.
The interpreter accused of stealing nearly $17 million from Los Angeles Dodgers star Shohei Ohtani is facing 4 years and 9 months in prison. Today, a judge sentenced Ippei Mizuhara in a case that involves bank and tax fraud. Mizuhara pleaded guilty, admitting that he stole from Ohtani to cover gambling debts and bills. He must surrender to authorities to begin serving his sentence by March 24th. The judge in this case also ordered Mizuhara to pay $18 million in restitution. Nearly $17 million of that will go to Ohtani, and the remainder goes to the IRS. Southern California Edison now says its equipment may have caused the Hearst fire, one of 3 major fires in Los Angeles County last month. That's according to a new filing with state utility regulators. The Hearst fire burned nearly 800 acres around the Sylmar neighborhood in L.A. In the end, though, it did not destroy any structures and did not result in anyone being injured or killed. Today, a memorial was held to honor the lives lost in the Eaton fire. Civil rights leader Al Sharpton posted video online showing this service in Pasadena. Before the event, Sharpton and prominent attorney Ben Crump criticized President Trump for not visiting areas affected by the Eaton fire in the Altadena area. At least 17 people died in that fire. The president toured areas that were damaged by the Palisades fire last month. Dozens of Arizona firefighters who helped to fight those wildfires in California got special recognition today. Governor Katie Hobbs held a ceremony to thank crews from the state's Department of Forest and Fire Management. At the peak of last month's firestorm, more than 150 firefighters from Arizona were deployed to California.
They represented Arizona so well, and I'm so grateful to them. I was proud that Arizona was able to lend a hand when this disaster struck, and I know that when we're in similar situations, we rely on the same help and support from our neighbor agencies.
During today's event, Governor Hobbs also highlighted a proposal to raise firefighter pay by 15%. New research is out on the health effects of the Maui wildfire. CDC researchers tested the blood of 180 firefighters and 80 county officials who responded to last year's disaster. Results showed their blood had higher concentrations of some PFAS, which are harmful man-made chemicals linked to cancer. However, most subjects were below the medical threshold to warrant more testing. Researchers did acknowledge they did not have the subjects' baseline values to compare directly before and after the fire. With the bird flu shrinking egg supplies and driving up prices, people are scrambling to find affordable eggs, and they found a spot in one Arizona community. Chicken owners in a Phoenix suburb have set up egg stands, selling their products for far less than the soaring costs we're seeing at grocery stores. This stand has kept its price to $3 a dozen. The sellers operate on an honor system. They list their prices and then rely on electronic payment. Well, demand for eggs has many small chicken farmers rethinking how they do business. Fox 5's Victoria Saha shows us what one farmer is doing in Las Vegas.
At Lindsay Stahl's backyard chicken coop, it's all hens on deck.
We have people calling us almost every day for eggs.
And every day it's an egg hunt, trying to fill up egg cartons.
We have an egg! These are in high demand if you haven't noticed by now.
We can get you a dozen, it might be 2 weeks, and we do have a wait list, along with everybody else right now that has backyard chickens.
But not all the eggs end up getting cracked. Lindsay brings some inside to be incubated.
So in 21 days total, we'll have some more babies, and then by fall time, they'll be laying eggs again, and that'll kind of help replace everybody that is no longer giving us eggs.
She uses a flashlight to see the chick's development inside the shell.
You can see on this one, even this real dark spot right there. I believe that's an eye. But all this dark space is all growth of a baby chick. This darker blob will move around a little.
In order to help with the egg production, Lindsay also added a bunch of quails. The eggs that they produce are smaller, but still a great source of protein.
Oh. They start laying at 8 weeks old, and you get an egg a day from them, and they're wonderful. They're great for you.
Whether it's through quails, chickens, or turkeys, Lindsay says she will hatch a plan to make sure there are eggs for her peeps. Victoria Saha, Fox 5 News, local, Las Vegas.
Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, many shoppers are worried that new tariffs will spike their grocery bills. Tonight we'll check in with industry leaders who are tracking prices. Also, Grammy winner Kendrick Lamar lays out some of what to expect from his Super Bowl halftime show coming up this weekend, how the hip-hop superstar will pay tribute to his Southern California roots.
I think I've always been very open about storytelling through all my catalog and my history of music. And I've always had a passion about bringing that on whatever stage I'm on.
The potential for tariffs to drive up food prices has many shoppers concerned. Fox 5's Jennifer Franco spoke with leaders in the food industry about what they're seeing.
We've got a variety of different berries that are being imported from Mexico right now.
As the general manager for Seaside Market in Cardiff, Austin Davis is always adjusting inventory. Oftentimes, outside factors have pull on choices made.
There's different growing seasons throughout the world, so California can only produce so much in a given year.
The store imports produce like tomatoes, asparagus, and strawberries from Mexico. So the idea of tariffs coming into play is not ideal and more far-reaching than some may think.
Where we might see some effects from taxes on Canada would be if taxes on oil go through, because that's going to raise prices on all of our suppliers across the board.
A move like that could mean higher prices are handed down to consumers. Dana Groot with the San Diego County Farm Bureau says it's too early to tell what the exact impacts could be, but
we believe it's maybe only a very modest percentage of increase. It's not necessarily true that imported foods are that much cheaper to the public.
Agriculture is the fourth largest economic driver in San Diego County, making up a $1.8 billion industry. If tariffs do kick in, other nations may retaliate, which could hurt farmers.
You know, there may be some issues with them being able to continue to export. It's, you know, there's a lot up in the air.
Locally sourced items may provide some relief.
Even strawberries coming from the local Carlsbad fields.
In the short term, but most importantly, in the long term.
Some of the commodities here among the 200 that are grown in this county this is the only place they're grown in the country, and so keeping our farmers in business is a very important thing.
And as we know, a 10% tariff on Chinese imports is already in effect, but there is a pause on 25% tariffs on both Canadian and Mexican imports. Now, negotiations are underway, so we could have a better idea of where things will stand in the next month or so. That's the very latest from here in North County. I'm Jennifer Franco. I'll send it back to you in the studio.
All right, hip-hop superstar Kendrick Lamar, a Southern California native, says that he will bring his passion for storytelling to the stage during this Sunday's Super Bowl halftime show. Today, he spoke to reporters about the show set for the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans. Lamar didn't give away too many details about what viewers can expect with this performance. He's fresh off of Sunday's Grammy wins, and he says one of his goals with the Super Bowl halftime show is to bring some LA energy to fans in the arena and at home.
I have to be who I am authentically, and if, you know, the world can't accept that, then so be it. But who rocking with it, I'm going to put it all the way out there, you know, whether it's in private or whether it's on the main stage.
Sunday's performance will make Kendrick Lamar the first solo hip-hop artist to headline a Super Bowl halftime show performance. He made a guest appearance during the halftime show in 2022. A lot of anticipation about this halftime show. Of course, we're waiting to see about any guest appearances coming up this Sunday for the big game. Now, as far as the game itself being played on the field, a lot of questions about who will win the Super Bowl. And one elephant in Hawaii is weighing in.
Looks like the Chiefs, come on!
A lot of excitement here. Honolulu zookeepers gave their elephant named Vaigai 2 watermelons. One had the Chiefs logo on it, the other had the Eagles logo, and Vaigai chose the Eagles in this case. The zoo's elephants, they're pretty good at this. They have correctly predicted, they did last year correctly predict that the Chiefs would win the Super Bowl as well. So Vaigai has made her pick. We'll see if it turns out to be right here on Super Bowl Sunday. That does it for West Coast Wrap tonight. We appreciate you watching as always. And a reminder here before we go, you can stay up to date on all the big stories we're covering for you across the West at westcoastwrap.com. And you can stream our shows on your smart TV by downloading the free Fox Local app. Have a great night.